Alright guys, hi again, take two. If you guys were on before in my other live, I had to get off because I had to respond to an important SMS. Someone's coming to look at the place and I need to get to that message. So I guess it's good that people are coming, people are looking for rooms, and I'm filling them slowly and patiently. But what I want to talk about is about things that are not going to stay permanent. So things are not forever. You know, whatever you're going through right now, it's very temporary. And I just want to bring up the example of you know, Airbnb. So for 5 years I've been in the Airbnb I guess market. For 5 years I bought a property for the purpose of doing Airbnb, and I've been doing that for 5 years until recently, late last year, we decided to exit the market and do long-term rentals instead. Probably now it's obviously, now thinking back, it's probably the best decisions we've made considering what's happened now, where last week the government abruptly announced that no more Airbnb overnight, just like that. Overnight, no more Airbnb. You can't even rent it out to people who want to self-isolate. It's just straight no Airbnb at all. My heart goes out to those people who depends on Airbnb for the rental income, for the investment property. A lot of people I know would probably have bought studios near cities for the purpose of doing Airbnb, and to be told that that they can't do Airbnb just like that, and in the worst time possible, where for them to kind of throw it out in the normal long-term market in a normal time without COVID-19, it will be kind of kick in the gut, but that's okay. You can still find long-term tenants. But in a time like this, it's like the worst time possible to try and get a long-term tenant when there's really not many people looking, and on top of that there's a lot of supply because everyone are throwing out their used to be Airbnb rentals, and on top of that people are leaving the country, and we've obviously lost a lot of overseas I guess overseas workers, visa workers, as well as students as well, that are renting, and tourists. Of course we've closed that off to tourists as well. So it is a bit of kick in the gut, but you know, just last month, you know, we wouldn't have thought that Airbnb would have such a downfall. And you know, I remember dealing with Airbnb, hi Sharon, hi Luke, that they were quite arrogant, you know, to the point I felt it was, you know, you hated working with Airbnb, but at the same time you gotta love them as well. It's like a love-hate relationship, because without Airbnb you couldn't get the same number of market share that they've got to get rentals for your rooms. Nothing compared to what, you know, you could use booking.com, you could use all the other ones, but nothing compared to what Airbnb's got. So it was a bit of a love-hate relationship, and they were starting to get quite arrogant when dealing with their customer service. They will shy away when you needed help the most, at the, you know, the time of need when you needed them. They weren't there to support you. I still remember 2 years ago, they just weren't there to support us when we needed their help, and they were quite arrogant because they were so big they can choose not to and leave you out to dry, really. And now it got me thinking, now they're in trouble because the government, you know, the UK, certainly in Australia, it's not illegal to do Airbnbs at all. There's no exceptions, although I've heard that there are some exceptions here and there, but how easy it is to get exception, we don't know. UK, definitely the market is shut there. Other countries, it may not be illegal, but who's coming in right now, who's traveling, you know, tourism is dead. So Airbnb has really taken a hit. And then this morning, my husband mentioned about Oyo. You know, I mentioned this company couple of maybe 2 months ago, about this company called Oyo, who is a young Indian entrepreneur who went around to hotels, knocking on the door, where he would partner up with them as a joint venture to renovate their hotels, and he would then rent it out and find tourists for them as a partnership, and he was making a killing. And apparently this morning I was told by my husband that he's in trouble as well. So it just kind of shows us that, you know, something as big as Airbnb and something as successful as like Oyo, who just last month, you know, came out with a great story of, you know, rags to riches that overnight is in trouble. It's just to remind us that nothing is forever. This is all temporary. So if you are currently in a really good place right now because you're benefiting from COVID-19, great. Don't forget to reach out and help others who are not in the same position, because your position is only temporary. And of course, if you are currently not doing so well, and a lot of people are not, remember this is also very temporary. This is not permanent. Things will get better, and it will be just a very quick matter of time. So think about the fact that people as great as Airbnb, things that as great as Oyo, even for them, when they were so good, things were very temporary for them. They are now not doing so well. And so whatever you're feeling right now, even for me, you know, things are not going so well, but I know it's just temporary. Nothing is permanent, and we're going to remember that. And then the second thing about this whole thing is when things are better again, that we are really going to do things differently for sure. We are going to start, well, for me anyway, I'm going to be starting to preserve some of the wins, as opposed to being a bit, I wouldn't say I was reckless. I may be very aggressive in the way I invested and the way I grew my business, but certainly the next time when things are good again, hopefully soon, that I would be thinking from a point of view of how do I preserve some of the wins and not be so aggressive. So, you know, COVID-19 is definitely going to change some people and change the way we do things differently. So anyway, guys, enjoy the rest of the afternoon. It's 2:30. I've got my usual afternoon coffee. The Carpenters, my local coffee place, my favorite. I didn't get it this morning because I had a long queue coming out from their coffee shop at 8:30. So I just drove off and went to another coffee place, the next suburb up, and just as good coffee. So sharing the love, support your local coffee places. Anyway, guys, bye bye.